Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib um, open mic. So anybody's welcome to join us. The link is still at the top of the page. I mentioned earlier I want to talk a little bit about VXP weekend. Some of it sucks. I also want to talk more about Destro's letter and Wrong Thinkers letters on the forums and the live rampage with both Robot and Wrong Thinker, and come up with like easy things they could do at the beginning while they're trying to figure out like the whole ball of wax of like how they're going to fix PvP, PvE, repair times, things that are much more complicated in the game. Last week, if you watched the show, we talked about the filter, trying to build your ships and the fact that we have 280 specials. We're going to get into some other stuff, and I would love to hear what everybody else has to think as far as what like an easy thing. Like I'm not saying like I mentioned before, like fix PVE or cut build time because those things appear to have ramifications throughout the game. Um, like just your interface with the game. I think they've done a good job for a lot of people, not necessarily everybody, associated with the 3D thing where they're decreasing a lag for a lot of people, but not everybody. And let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right, and the link is there in case anybody would like to join the show. Um, Toxic,
G'day all, how are we going?
Magic Mike,
Hello, everybody.
Grimace,
What's up, y'all?
Dr. Death,
Hello.
and this is Hefe. And again, the link is there. I will post it one more time because it's gone off the screen. But feel free to join us. That's what we're talk about, like little things they can do to improve your experience with the game, not trying to fix the whole thing. So I don't know. Before we get to that, should we talk about VXP weekend and what happened earlier today? That was Strady wants to see a dock. He wants to see a bigger dock. Okay, and but there was a problem with the 105 target that once you defeated it, or you timed out on it, you got a black screen and um, you were forced to refresh, and it pulled those targets off the map for 3 hours. Anybody that hit one should have one additional silver salty, and they're adding 3 hours onto this, which is I don't know. It's good for the Aussies, I think, because it extends the time from 12 p.m. or they added 6 hours. Yeah, I think they added 6 hours. So it takes it from 9 p.m. Pacific time to 3 a.m. Pacific time, which is 3 a.m. on the west coast of the U.S. It's 6 o'clock from 6 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and we don't have any Brits on right now to tell us. I don't think it helped, but it may help them if they wake up in the morning and start, working on it.
Wait,
But
what are you talking about?
what?
What are you talking about? What time zone are you looking for?
No, I was just saying 6 a.m. Pacific time. What time is that in London?
Pacific time. I'll check.
I think they're waking up at that point, so they could have repaired and done a little work in that point. But
At 2 o'clock.
okay, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it helps the Brits and the Aussies. So don't complain, because we usually hear how the Aussies get screwed over on these type of things, but this extension I think helps them the most.
Yeah,
So-
lucky none of us works.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, never mind. But before we get into like some of the other stuff, does anybody? Anybody? My favorite part was I didn't realize it was a mistake at first, and it appears that was part of the other part of the problem was the blackout screen, and they added cheese balls to the 105s. And I was like, players first. And I know there's a ton of players out there saying, we need those random cheese balls doing a different kind of damage type than we're prepared for in every target.
Where were
the cheese balls coming from?
They were coming from the left-hand side of the screen. They were coming from a dead building, and it was launching a couple layers of them all over there. And it appeared to be, that was more of a quality control thing. They didn't do that one intentionally. They did pull it from the map, and when I first saw it, I was like, I was confused as far as who they were listening to think that players wanted cheese balls and more targets, since that was one of the more hated aspects of the PvE experience.
Yes, if you're listening, Kicks, we want more cheese balls.
Yes.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little pissed when I saw that.
Yeah, it was a mistake. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how it worked its way into the game, but it was interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, has anybody else noted about the VXP targets is it's very difficult to do any damage with the Greta's Inferno Dragon at this point in time. With these targets, they don't really do anything, or the Impact Cruiser. A lot of the stuff we're trying to rank up, besides your Mana Cores or your Missile Storm Cruisers, are barely scratching the paint on anything.
Yeah, they should almost go to like just a across the board damage reduction on those ships' armor, so that they're vulnerable to pretty much everything. So that they're a general target to rank anything you want to rank.
Yeah, because it is a VXP target. It's not like we're getting raid points out of it. Yeah, to make other ships relevant, it shouldn't just be one type of ship that's relevant for a VXP target, because people trying to also because I had like Prototype Seekers, Proto Centurions, Impact Cruisers, Greta's Inferno Dragon, all in there. And, it took them a little while to die because I had the RA3 on my Greta, and the Impact Cruisers got 2.3 million armor. Took them a little while to die, but they barely scratched the paint on anything. And so, yeah, they need to adapt these targets that are meant for a certain thing in the raid or map targets or whatever. And yeah, like you said, think about using them in the VXP targets and reduce the resistances so you can use more fleets. I agree with you completely, Grimace. So, anybody else have much to say about VXP Weekend?
I hate it.
Pretty
Just
much
no fun, as usual.
I mean, there's a larger issue. Should it, since they're looking at battle pirates from the bottom up, should it just be eliminated? Should everything be considered skulled at this point?
Or go to like back to the 25% or something, and maybe change the numbers a little bit, but don't make it so crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's in a very extreme part of the game, and I guess they do make money from it. But in Destro's letter in the forums, he's like, "We're not doing anything just for money." I don't think the players enjoy VXP Weekend that much. It makes a huge change in the game as far as the performance of your ship, because you're basically doing 400% more damage than you would have been.
Well, but
or the impact on your countermeasures. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Everything's tuned for your ships to be highly ranked. I won't say skulled, because there have been instances where it seems like they've, set up the target to be like 55% rank or something on your ships would be pretty good. But they've been tuning a lot of the targets, expecting you to have your ships ranked, and so that if they took that away, they're going to have to go back and retune a lot of things. You know?
Yeah, tune them based on the fact that there's no rank anymore. Because he, as part of the letter, he said, well, we're not going to do anything just to make money. And like I said, does anybody enjoy VXP weekend?
No, not a bit.
No, because the only true way that you're going to get your ship sculled at this point on VXP weekend, because they keep inching down the payout and increasing the amount required to make skull. It's getting to a point where the only way you can skull a fleet on VXP weekend is if you're willing to spend coin.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially with the number of them that come out with the Prototype Seeker, the Proto-Centurion, these extra things that don't perform well in these targets. I'm sorry, go ahead, Toxic. Explain why you love the XPV.
Well, it's my second favorite thing. My most favorite thing is buying titanium and uranium in the raid.
You see, well, that's a good hobby. I mean, you might need to seek a little bit of counseling associated with those things, but it's probably cheaper to coin the VXP weekend than to get counseling associated with those issues.
Yeah, no, but just being serious now, if they would have cut it by 3, so instead of having, what is it now, 15 times we have to go before they're sculled. If they cut that by 3, so it's back to the 25, but leave it the way it is, and instead of every. Well,
I absolutely have no idea what you just said.
It's sort of hard to explain. If you divide the 75 by 3, you go back to 25.
Oh, divide by 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
So if you get your 5 stars or whatever you want to call it, or 5 hits, then you're fully ranked, which is 75%. But it increases every 15%, not just by 1. If you know what I mean. It's hard to explain. I don't know how to explain it much better than that. But
You know what I think they need to change, and this would be just a matter of changing a few numbers. They need to increase the strength of the cargoes that are on the map, because cargoes ain't been touched in like forever, and increase the VXP payout in them, and get rid of VXP weekend. Each cargo does, gives you 200 VXP. You know what I mean?
But it's back to the basic question. Do you find that an enjoyable part of gameplay to go out and hit cargoes in order to gain the rank that you need to hit the targets that they're asking us to hit? Or is the solution more closer to what's going on with the defenders, where you kill this target, you're gonna kill it once, we'll give you tokens, or is it even necessary at all? Or they just, like we were mentioning earlier, do you tune the targets to unranked ships, or do you make VXP weekend more enjoyable? Do you create a wider plethora of targets that you hit this? You can use your Prototype Seekers here. You can use your Gresenfurter Dragon over here, Manicores here. The different damage types, the different classes. But right now, as it is, suiciding ships into something I don't think most people enjoy as part of the game.
Well, no, I don't enjoy suiciding ships into things. I mean, that's either you got long repair, and if you're trying to do your FM or something else, then that's you're kind of bummed right there, because you can only repair one at a time anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you got a coin, and I don't like. I'm a coiner, but I don't like it when I'm forced to coin. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying they need to do a revamp on the cargoes and increase the VXP payout on the cargoes, and just leave them on the map all the time. You know what I mean? And then it's your choice if you want to go out and hit 50 cargoes one day. You know what I mean? If the payout on the cargo is decent, where you're getting between 200 and 500 points for hitting it, You know, you could dedicate a half an hour each day, and within a month, by the time the raid starts, your fleet's skulled. You see what I mean?
But how many are you going to hit? And do you find that part enjoyable? I'm taking it to a different paradigm. Does this VXP part of the game make it more enjoyable for you? I mean, grinding on cargoes doesn't sound enjoyable.
But VXP is old. You know what I mean? VXP has been in the game forever. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to be able to take that out without breaking a bunch of stuff.
Well, they can just tune the targets accordingly. And VXP, they didn't know how broken it was when they released it. They thought they were going to add 100% to your ships. When they really, it took them a long time, because once we got to 25% and everybody's like, oh, okay, this is fun. But the way that formula works, you're actually, now that we get at 75%, we're at 400% additional damage. That's not what they planned. And I'm just saying, tuning targets in a way that you don't need that, or tuning targets, tuning ships, doing something so this is not necessarily part of the game. That this whole running your ships into a wall and blowing them up is, I mean, it's a good coin exercise as far as, having people wanting to coin stuff. But do you find it enjoyable? I mean, that's the part where we're having this conversation, and I'm like, well, you can hit 300 cargoes, and now you're ranked, as opposed to right now you have to hit like 30,000 cargoes to rank up the ships now. But that's not enjoyable,
right? But if I know I've got a fleet and I know I need to hit 300 cargoes over the next month, that's only 10 cargoes a day. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, is this enjoyable? Is this enjoyable?
That's something that wouldn't force me to coin. You understand what I'm saying? Because then it would be my choice when I was getting VXP. I wouldn't be forced to say, okay, I've got to have these holes out by VXP weekend. And if I don't have enough tokens, well, the credit card's got to come out. You know what I'm saying? I don't like being put in that situation. Whereas if it was on the cargoes, I wouldn't be in that situation. I could go out and spend 10 minutes hitting 10 cargoes a day. I would be a happy freaking camper, because I could go out, throw that fleet back in, repair it whenever I got the chance to repair it, send it back out the next day, do it again. Wouldn't be nothing. I would auto the freaking cargoes and just be done with it while I was playing the game. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It'd be going on in the back.
Okay, but you're assuming, because they're not going to make money off that. There's no reason to have that in there. I'm saying, would you find that an enjoyable exercise? Would this be part of the game that you would like to do? Would you like to have to go out and hit, let's say you go out and hit 50 cargoes and now you're ranked? Okay, that's cool, but hitting 50 cargoes, is it enjoyable? Is it something? It almost feels like you have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. You're prisoners to them, and like, okay, well, I'll do this instead.
No,
I'm just saying, do you find this part of the game enjoyable? Is all I'm asking. And if maybe it's not, should it be removed from the game and they recalibrate both the ships and the targets associated with it?
I understand what you're saying, but the concept of them changing that big of a thing in the game that affects every aspect of the game. I mean, every single aspect, from collecting res all the way up to hitting bases to doing the events, the FM. I mean, I see that scares me.
It doesn't scare me as much as some of the stuff they've done recently, because all they need to do is throw the rank on the ship. All they need to do is increase the turn speed and the reload by 400%, and we're there. I think that's easy for them. I mean, some of this.
Well, okay, but now say so they take it out, right? And now the ship, when we build the ship, it's coming out with that rank already built in. But then we no longer can confirm that you know what I'm saying? We no longer can confirm that our ship has actually got that rank and is performing at that level, and with the trust deficit that we have with that company to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying, because they can tune the damage and they can tune these targets however way they like. you know, as we saw during the last raid, where they were upping the damage, lowering the damage, and taking the damage all over the place. They can, you know, during the raid, you know, like from Thursday to Friday, it went up 50%. Back to Sunday, it was back to normal. What I'm saying is, I think this is a simple thing for them to fix if they get off the VXP cheat as far as getting money from it. I'm assuming they're going to get it somewhere else. I'm just saying, and I keep on saying, do you find this enjoyable?
No, VXP is not enjoyable, but it is
Okay.
mandatory.
Okay. All right. All righty.
And you know, they even, it hasn't been mentioned. I'm going to mention it. It's probably everybody knows it, but the cargoes, they even took the extra VXP off of those to force you to not be able to do that with any efficiency if you so chose.
Okay.
Because
I've
there
not
was one
hit
fleet.
cargos.
Pardon?
I have not hit cargos, so I'm not
Well,
sorry.
I think it was in the notes.
Okay.
Yeah, what was in the notes?
Okay, there was a fleet that I remember doing, you know, just because I have nothing but time on my hands and I'm stupid. It was either the Phoenix or the Skyfires or something that I ranked them that way. I just went and kept hitting cargoes whenever I didn't have anything else to do. I just was doing cargoes for VXP.
Yeah, but this is like toxic and
Yeah,
wanting
and
to
he's
hit the
wrong.
raids for titanium. You know,
Yeah,
it's easier to coin this than it is to get the counseling to fix the base issue that you have. But you know, I'm not sure if I'm being mean, but I'm trying not to be. It's just sort of like,
You meanie.
yes, I'm a meanie.
you know, you got to consider it, you know, who you're talking to. On this side, me, talking to me.
Okay, all good. Hey, Jordy, how are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. How's your VXP weekend going?
Well, I don't like attaining the VXP, but I quite like VXP weekend just because my mindset is pile a load in and get them VXP'd on the Friday, and then let them slow repair and do it again before the thing disappears. So it's kind of a downtime weekend for me. Gives me a lot of free time. But I also think I got what Toxic was saying earlier. He was saying, you know, don't let's have to accrue the amount of VXP to get to the 75%, make it like it was to get to the 25%. So have larger increments, which would make sense if they just had increments for every boat. So it didn't matter, rather than it being based on the ship's armor, which means it takes longer the more powerful the ships get.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is this? I keep on saying this again and again. How many times have I said this, Grimace? Are you keeping tabs?
Way too many.
Yeah.
No
Do you
one
enjoy
it.
this part of this?
That's the answer. No one enjoys it.
Yeah, no one enjoys it. But here's the thing, though. You know, we're all sitting here saying, or like Toxic was saying, that they need to reduce the amount of times we have to hit the target to get skull. And I fully agree with that. But Kixeye is going the exact opposite direction because, like last VXP weekend, these same targets with a 2-star salty was paying out 13,980 points per hit with one ship with the silver salty. Okay, this time they're paying out 11,000. So every VXP weekend they roll that number back just slightly to make it squeeze out that extra hit. You got to do that extra hit. You know what I mean? So, and they're increasing the amount of time that we've got to hit these targets.
Yeah. I mean, combined with the fact that it takes. All right, somebody's Jordy?
What?
Okay, you have your YouTube's unmuted, so I could hear everybody could hear both me and the 3-second delay. So okay, so like an example is like what's going on with the current FM. You have to spend if you had 4 Inferno Dragons, you have to spend 30 or 29 days, 13 hours, somewhere around there, to refit all of your Inferno Dragons over to the new armor type that they want us to have. And then you're going to have to spend 19 days in your shipyard to build and outfit your Greatest Inferno Dragon. And then you're going to have to spend all this time ranking up your Greatest Inferno Dragon in a target where you barely do any damage. You just basically go in there and die. None of that sounds enjoyable to me. Does it sound enjoyable to you?
Well, no, Hefe, but can I point something out?
Sure, go ahead.
On the new FM target, you do not have to refit your dragons.
Yeah. I mean, one is two, and we don't need.
But in the show, but like we watched the live show, right? In the live show, we don't even have enough of the armor to do the refit, because if you listen to them in the show, they said that the M6 armor that we were only able to get 5 panels in the raid is the armor for the dragons for the FM.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So you know, but I've already got my dragon flag out, but yesterday with no rank on it at all, and not having the new armors changed over on my old dragons, I drug my old dragons behind my flag and was consistently doing 120s for 13 to 15 minutes of damage for the whole fleet. So you don't have to do the refit on your dragons if you don't want to. You just got to be able to drive it if you don't do the refit.
Yeah, but last time they changed the targets when we were introduced to the 117. With 4 dragons, I was taking about 28 minutes of damage per target. And then it jumped up to somewhere close to 3 hours per target. And then it dropped down more recently to somewhere less than 2 hours without having the Savage Kodiak or anything like that. I just don't know that we're not going to see that jump again.
Yeah, see, that's the, but you said at the beginning of the show that you want to think of things that are going to make this game better for the player base. That right there is the biggest thing in this game overall that they could change that would make this game better for the player base, and that is once you drop a target, don't change it without giving us some heads up. Whether it be in the raid, whether it be in bounty, whether it be at our FM, whether it be, the SSRB. I don't care what the dang target is. I don't care if it's the TLC and you decide it's the same TLC, but you're going to vamp it up. We need to know. Don't just throw this stuff on us or change it in the middle of an event, because that is the biggest thing I've seen that pisses the player base off and just makes people want to throw their computers.
Or make it a set right, so we know it goes up every raid. It goes up by 10% or by 5%. The damage will go up, so we can compensate for it.
Yeah. Okay. Are we done with the? I need to go get a beer. So, do you guys have anything to talk about for like 2 or 3 minutes?
No, you're just gonna have to go without your beer and just stay here and chat.
Yeah, that's not happening. It's whether I introduce a topic that you guys talk about while I'm gone.
You just landed in a desert. Sorry.
No. That's not happening. That's not the way it works. I'm just trying to figure out if you guys can talk about VXP weekend a little bit longer, or
there's not really much to talk about on VXP weekend. We know we don't like it. We know it's mandatory. We have to do it. We know that Kickside is trying to make it to where we have to hit more targets. So,
that's all well and good. Okay. So we could move on to. Well, I'm trying to think of like the best thing to move on while I go get a beer, because I want to talk about. Well, let me introduce it. Let me put Grimace on present, and Grimace, go to the. I'm gonna miss some of your input on this. Let's go to that. All right. Currently, this is what I was talking about as far as low-hanging fruit Last week I talked about the filters associated with go 2 forward, Grimace, and then we're going to go 2 back. Just to, I talked about this as far as making it easier for players, because seems like an easy thing for them to do, is to change how we can sort our specials, because we have over 280 specials and all we have is pictures that appear to be in completely random order. And so this is what I'm talking about as far as low-hanging fruit. That's not going to impact the game. Now back to Grimace. Sorry to be so bossy on all this. Okay. Right now, if you build a turret, you get total damage. Sometimes it could be multiple damage types. Doesn't account for salvos or anything else. Is that useful? That's not a useful number to anybody, is it? That 1 million number? I mean, because you got to divide it by the number of salvos, and
then you still got to take it in half, don't you? Because it's in the base.
Well, cutting in half is okay, but it doesn't includes faction, includes tier. It doesn't include like the fire supports and other mods that are in there. So you need to add that in. And the way the specials are calculated, that's incorrect as well. See, the other problem is a lot of it's not calculated correctly. So that number is wrong either way. But it's a matter of would you rather have the amount of pen damage you do per salvo in that number than a total damage number?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be good. The only thing, you got to kind of, I guess, make sure you're not screwing up the strategy. Because if you make it too easy, where there's no, I don't know how I want to say this.
But
like,
you've seen this. You've seen the spreadsheets. You knew to figure that out, right?
Yeah, I've seen the spreadsheet. Oh yeah, no, it's totally ridiculous the amount of math that you have to be able to do, and we still don't even know half the time if the math is correct, because I don't think a lot of times they don't know if a lot of times the math is correct, as was seen before with the turrets that were doing, multiplicative damage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there still has to be some strategy to it, because you don't want to just give everything away, right?
Well, there's strategy, and then there's like providing correct information, and then
I'm not defending them in any way.
Yeah,
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying, like, there needs to be some aspect of strategy to it, where you may have to do a little bit of math or something.
But you could do it with a calculator. You don't have to have like
you shouldn't have to have
20 cells on a spreadsheet working together. Yeah.
But look, the problem you're talking about, I don't think is a real. No, it's maybe a problem for the upper echelon of the game, the ones that know about all this. But for normal Joe Blow, and that includes me, if you put, for example, that Executioner 2 on, if you click on a special slot, what do you put on? And the hint it should give you is, this turret goes with special 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you click one of those specials, and then you click on the second special slot, and then you'll say, "Oh, this will, goes well with special 2."
Well, okay.
Or if you click on the other one, it goes to special 3 and 4. That is more helpful than the numbers in the damage box, because people want to know what special they can put on. A lot of people don't know what.
At some point, you're spoon feeding people. I mean, a lot of the specials you can look at and see they do. They have penetrating range, they have penetrating damage. Hey, you might want to put that on a penetrated turret.
But part of it is also at this point is the fact that, like, at some point, if you don't have the tier 7 bonus and the tactical mods such as the fire support 2, it's an irrelevant turret. I wanted to say turret, but I didn't do it just to make everybody happy. But if you don't have, like, you don't know unless they have the faction bonus, all 8 for the tier bonus, and then I need to be in the range of 5 fire support 2s in order for it to overcome the deflection. That's I don't, even if you have the number, I don't know. It just seems like a little much to ask from the players to calculate that all out. I mean, there's third-party calculators. You can do it yourself. But it just seems like too much for a lot of the players. Just want to, as an example, some player that talks a lot, he just does everything on the app. I mean, that player is not going to understand what's going on and do this all himself. He'll rely on other players in order to tell him what's going on there as far as like, this is going to work, that's not going to work. But a lot of players like to play this game independently or semi-independently, not have to do all that math, not to be beholden to other players or an alliance or anything like that. It just seems easier to provide them with the endpoint, and then they can decide where you're going to put it in your base. How is this going to match with my ships?
But
other things like that.
The first thing you have to do is find the special. Right. If you don't know that special is there, like I don't know. I mean, I admit it openly. I don't know all 280 specials.
That's where his new.
Yeah. Skip 2 ahead. He wasn't paying attention. Skip 2 ahead, please. This is where, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
All good. No worries.
No, but from what I can tell, if you look on the left-hand side, this covers all 280 plus specials besides 3. Will be tagged at least once. Sometimes it'll be tagged up to 3 times. The ones that aren't going to be tagged, because I can put them in there, but they're so easy to find. Resonance battery, resonance capacitor, and crier battery. Everything else you'll be able to select and get yourself down to a grouping of about 10 specials at most. I'm thinking about taking the defense one and maybe removing evade or splash reduction. Split that one out a little bit larger. Maybe just take defense and pull deflection out, so you know you're only dealing with PvP armors or PvP armor specials or things related to that. So,
can I ask you a question?
I guess.
Well, I don't really want to interrupt, but just because I'm a little in the weeds, is this the chart on the left replacing the chart on the right?
Yes.
So that you click on the ballistic and it would be like clicking on launchers? And everything related to that would come up?
Ballistics would be anything that would change cannons.
I'm just
launchers are
trying to get my head straight. If I click ballistic, it's going to bring up all the weapons or specials or whatever have you related to ballistic.
Yes, it would bring up all this. This is just for specials.
Now I'm with you. Okay.
All the specials associated with ballistic. So anything that's it's going to add ballistic damage, add ballistic range, add ballistic reload. Anything associated with that would be included there.
So just like in the current game, you click on launchers and all the launchers show up.
No, that's not true. We could have somebody do that live.
I think you get like one.
Yeah.
And
you put on mortars and you get one. You get.
I'm talking about the process, not necessarily what happens.
Yeah. I'm just talking about the improvement on this at this point.
And I agree, but I mean, you're improving. Okay, I'm just gonna confuse the situation. Go ahead.
Okay, so we go back 2 steps again. We've done this a couple times. Hey, George.
What up, guys?
Yeah.
See, that's what I was talking about, Hefe. The actual selection of the special. which
Yeah.
is at the moment is totally, it's like a big hat, and you grab something and oh no, that doesn't work, so you have to go back in and grab something else. That's what it is like right now, but it never used to be like that. They all used to be sort of paired together, like they were in little clumps. But now all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, it's been a while now, they've all just popped up anyway.
Yeah, they're all over the place at this point, and it takes a long time. It's laborious to try and figure out specials that you're going to put on ships at this point in time.
Yeah. So here we go again. If you have a ballistic and you want to know everything that works with ballistic, you can click on ballistic and everything will come up, and you can select from all those. Is that what you kind of mean?
Yeah, that's what he means, and he's wanting to, but that's what we're wanting Kickside to change to, is something like that that's more player friendly when it comes to finding the specials that you need for your builds.
And I totally agree. I just wanted to get it straight in my head, and I think now I finally have it.
Didn't Wayne do that on his page? There's an option for that now, I think.
No idea.
I'm pretty sure he has something on the page now where you can select.
I think the whole point was, though, getting it right in the game so people didn't have to go to a third-party page just to figure out.
Oh, well, hell, they got a lot of things to do in the thing to do that.
You're kind of hopping in late, but he's going for low-hanging fruit, stuff that they could fairly easily do without, affecting a lot of other things in the game.
Quite honestly, right now, I don't want them touching a damn thing. I want them to figure out what the hell they're going to do and then prioritize the shit that affects my, direct gameplay, not secondary gameplay like this. I mean, I'll be honest, with the shit that they've messed up in the last 6 months, do you really want them messing with anything that they don't have to at the moment?
I mean, personally, like, I don't, I'm kind of so apathetic right now. I don't really care. But I understand why he's bringing it up, because it has been a problem for a long time. So
I'm sorry, I had to step away, but
I mean, they got to start somewhere. No, I don't think that's a bad start by getting things right, so that you could that anyone, even those who don't have the special ability of memorizing all these components and parts and whatnot, that they can also build a half decent fleet and not, go, oh, now I have to refit it because I didn't know that special was there. It is a problem.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I had to step. There was a lot of noise outside, so I had to step away. But were we still talking about the about this display as far as what?
Yeah, low-hanging fruit was still there.
Okay, yeah, and the other one, if you click one more time, Grimace. All this is wrong on the left-hand side. This is all shown as being additive. Well, that's multiplicative. So I would fix that at the same time. It's gonna get all balled up mostly into a your reload time and your damage and things of that nature. But this is all the stuff on the left-hand side as far as your installation mods are calculated multiplicatively, but it's shown as being additive here. So these numbers are not right. You don't have the ability to correctly calculate what your damage is going to be. And so I think the solution is, A, make this right, and B, do the math for the players and put it all up there above and do the numbers for them. Like I said, penetrative damage per salvo would incorporate all the specials, and I don't think the specials are calculated properly, but we'll see. I think those are additive, but they're also multiplicative. The range, they give you the plus this much range. Why don't they just provide you how much range it has? Reload time, it's the specials and then the installation mods, the fire support. Just give us the reload time so we can figure out how we're improving. Don't make us have to do the math. I don't mind doing it, except for like some of the stuff going on, especially because we have all these deflection values. And these deflection values are really breaking things, combined with the fact of the tier 7 bonuses, which are still adding damage, as opposed to adding something else that would work better in a resistance resistance environment. But since we're with deflection, adding that plus 25 until you get to 200% doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's like, because right now, to make pretty much anything that useful, besides the newest Phlogiston 2, you need to have 8 of them. You need to have them in the field of 5 fire support 2s. So you're creating a situation where most of your turrets are bubble pad fodder. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll step away for a minute. You guys can discuss.
Don't everybody go all at once.
George?
Evil! I'm just actually laughing at something that I'm reading, that a certain someone that has a page in allegedly a show is just bitching about something that was completely addressed today in the stream. It's just amusing. I'm sorry. I'm easily amused this evening, and I have to be. I'm trying to not just completely break down. So
So did you guys watch the whole stream? Because I caught like the last 15 minutes, and then I didn't bother going back to watch the rest of it.
Oh yeah, I had fun. It was
there
enjoyable.
anything worthwhile?
It was interesting. I mean, it sounds like they are very cognizant of the fact that they don't want to do knee-jerk reactions. Part of me is kind of leery about that, because that can also be used as a justification to be complacent and not do anything. You know what I mean? And I kind of don't want them to just sit on it and wait for, whatever cycle to finish so they can, address this or that. I mean, you know what the issues are, address the motherfucking things,
Yeah, they need to do something, and they need to do it with the quickness.
And I mean, they have acknowledged that PvP is broken, for a couple of weeks now, and they just reiterated that, yeah, we know it's broken. I mean, it's been broken. And I think this discussion, I think they understood right after the fiasco of the turrets that even when that was corrected, I mean, shit, we were very vociferous about this. Even if you correct the turrets, PvP is still fucking broken after. And I think it sounded like they acknowledged it. They discussed a couple of different other aspects. I kind of was wishing that they would answer more of the questions, because I know there was a ton of questions on there. So I'm hoping that, maybe they go back and look at everything and write another article, because I know they said that they were going to have Wrong Thinker write another post on the forums and things like that. I did like seeing Tin Man in there, and there was a couple times when he gave a little bit of insight as to how some things were tuned or designed. So I don't know. I mean, it was pretty good. I hope they do it again. I really hope they do it again. I just, hopefully the next time they do it, they'll have some answers instead of, I mean, like stepping back. And if I want to be brutally honest, it sounded like a lot of platitudes at this point. So until I see something, I'll be. I think I'm still gonna be apathetic. I'm not gonna be cautiously optimistic yet, because I've been cautiously optimistic so many fucking times, and it's never, it hasn't worked out. And I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I think I'm gonna stick with apathetic right now until I see something. Because
their track record is not good. It's not good at all.
Well, I fully agree with you, George. And what scared me the most out of watching that show was when Wrong Thinker said, now, we're not going to be doing anything quick. We're not going to be doing anything this week or next week, but 3 months, you'll see some changes. I don't want to wait 3 months to see changes in this game. You know what I mean?
And that's the part that I kind of, red flags came up. Now, I think the thing was, he was discussing PvP at that point. And, Yeah, that's such a complicated topic because of just the dynamic that that one I might go 2-3 months. I mean, you know what, I could see that happening, right? But for PvE, I mean, look, we know that those S targets, 3.5 hours of damage is not fucking acceptable to anybody. The auto hulls not working is not acceptable to anybody. Okay. It's a top tier target. It's a top tier hull. I've done the same investment as I did for my missile hull. Why in the hell do I have 5-8 times more damage using my auto hull as intended versus my skill hull as intended? That's not how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a lot of changeover as far as like who's there, but as far as I would want the auto haul, not so much like when we first, like we've talked about this before, not when we first see the target, but once the target gets really stale and boring, then we should be able to auto it quite easily. I mean, you're of the opinion, you're of the opinion that you should be able to auto things right away.
I think you should be able to auto things right away, but I think the cost should be 25% more.
That's the sticking point, is what should it cost? And that's the problem, because if it's a target that gives you like an hour damage on your skill hull and you take an hour 25 with your auto hull, sure. But if it's a target that you get 4 hours of damage with your skill hull, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of something's giving you 4 hours of damage with your skill hull. Something's real fucked. But the problem is this: I'm not exactly sure what the pushback is on the people that want to auto, right? Because it's not taken away from anything from anyone else's game, right? You're opening up choices to the player base that have had very, very, like, their choices have become more and more limited over time. Okay. It's top tier fleets. The investment is the same. Okay. They take a little bit more damage. Sure. There's a little bit, a reasonable amount, but it still should be an absolute viable option. If it's an offering by the company, it should do its fucking job, and you should have that option. Because you know what? There are times I want to drive, but then there are times that I want to auto. There are times that I just don't have time, and like I'm time crunched and I have to do several things at once, and I want that option. And you know what? They gave me that option. Why you would want to limit the ability for players to have that option boggles my mind. Who gives a shit if they're autoing or driving? Does it change your game? No.
No, the only thing is it's like a slippery slope where it eventually becomes like Mafia Wars or something where you just click a button and then it's done.
Okay, and if someone wants to play, but Jeff, here's the thing. If someone wants to do that, that's their fucking choice. If you have both of the options, the skill hull and the auto hull, who gives a fuck? You can do the skill hull all day long. Why would you dictate how someone else is going to play the game?
It's because how they will design the game. Because of that.
I think that's gonna. I think.
They're already going to do that because that's what the app is. I mean, that's a given already.
They're gonna start designing the targets to be more auto friendly so that they can be used in the app. And then
they already have.
I said that a couple months back. Remember, I told you that's what they were going to do. But I'm just saying, in general, we're going to see the game is going to be more focused towards building for that app on the PvE side, I think.
I don't know if they're going to build for the app, but the thing is they've absolutely been building for the targets to be autoable. Okay? Has it taken away from any of the skill hull shit? No. I think that's just a fallacious argument because they're still going to have to design for that skill hull.
Because it did take away, because here was the problem. The skill hull could auto the target better than the auto hull could.
That's a poor design for the auto hull, but that does not. We're talking about why Hefe does not want the whole auto option because he's afraid that they're going to design.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying that the fact that you become extremely focused on the auto part, and I understand that from a certain perspective, but I don't want them to spend all their resources trying to make things autoable because it creates a situation we've seen in so many Facebook-based games where you just click.
And what I'm saying is that is a fallacious stance. There's no basis for that because they have
it's for all the other Facebook games.
Right, but they didn't have the skill option. Hefe, they're still going to have the skill option. If they have the skill option hull, they're going to have to design for it. And as far as me focusing on the auto hull, it's right now I'm not really focusing on the auto hull. I'm focusing on player choice. Because if you're trying to limit player choice in a game that's already limited the player's choice, I mean, I'm going to be pissed. I don't want to hear anybody telling me how I fucking should or shouldn't play the game. If I want to auto, god damn it, I want to auto, and they gave me the hull, and it better fucking work. If I want to drive, god damn it, I'm going to drive that motherfucker as best I can, and that skill hull better fucking work. I expect the shit that they release to actually work the way that they said it would. I don't give a shit if it's auto. I don't care if it's fucking skill. I don't care if it's a fucking sub. I don't care if it's a fucking rocket. Whatever I choose to do with what they've given me, I better be able to do it in the way that they said that was going to work. And that right there is what my issue is. And then when I hear players try and dictate how other players should play the game based on what the company has given us,
God, you're getting very. I'm not dictating.
No,
how
you are.
No,
you're saying, Hefe, no, you just said I don't want them to put auto stuff in the game until it's become a stale target, and you're focusing too much on the auto. And no, I want my damn choice.
I don't want them to turn this in. I don't want them to turn this into a click and win type of game.
Okay, awesome. But what does that have to do? But what does that have to do with people being able to auto a target? Why do I have to wait until the target is stale in somebody's opinion for me to auto the target?
1,000 times. For me, and again, I'm only speaking personally, with the sheer volume of shit that they throw at us, the auto is the only autoing these targets. Now, if they made fun, engaging, interactive targets, I'm all for having a skill hole and hitting that, but they are not designing those kinds of targets. They're not fun. They're not engaging. They're repetitive, and you want them out of the way as quickly as possible. So either find a way to consolidate all the bullshit that's being thrown at you and make it engaging and fun, in which case I'll do it because, hey, you've made it fun. But if you can't do that, make it as painless as possible for me. I don't want to spend a ton of money doing these auto things, but I don't want to do them in the first place. So, if it's a Mob Wars for that aspect of the game, which to me is the least engaging part of the game, I'm okay with Mob Wars for that. If I have to pay a couple of coins here and there just to auto the hulls in there and be done with the bullshit, then that's fine. But with so much being thrown at me, there is no incentive for me. I mean, I barely have the motivation to do my FM lately. It's usually like the day before I'm like, well, fuck, I better do my FM because I mean, I've got, all these different targets that I'm building for, and it's just, it's too much crap being thrown at you. Plus the lack of diversity in the targets or enjoyment that you get from them.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. If I want to really auto target, I'm gonna fucking auto target. I don't care if it's a skill hull or an auto hull or whatever it is. Okay, I have enough, motivation to come up with something. Okay, what my biggest thing is, if the fucking options are out there, I don't want to hear a goddamn peep out of anybody telling anybody that there shouldn't be an auto fucking option or it should be a later or it shouldn't do this or that. The options are both top tier hulls. They should do their fucking job in the top tier targets. It's that simple. Anything other than that is a complete disservice to the community.
Okay. No, I agree with Padre as far as they have created a situation where they keep on providing the same target to us again and again and again. And they've created target fatigue. Back in the day, we had a much larger variety of targets, and they were engaging, and they were some of them were interesting to hit. And that's what I'm saying, as far as if they create a diverse amount of targets, and then we can hit them. And you should be forced to, at some point to drive some of them.
Why?
Why are you playing the game then? If you just want to auto everything, it's like
no. I didn't say that, Hefe. What I'm saying is, you just said you want to force people to do something. I'm like, no, give me the fucking
Oh,
choice.
goodness.
Give me the choice. I mean, you in one breath, like, you know, you'll go back, go look. You bitch about them not
No,
letting
no,
us
no,
put
no,
bling.
no,
Hold on
no.
a
If
minute.
you
No,
actually
no.
listen to the
Hold on,
words, if you
Hefe. Hold
actually
on a
listen to
second.
the words,
Hold
you're
on a
not
second,
actually
Hefe.
listening to the words right
You've
now.
said in the
either.
past. You've said in the
That you
past
were
that you don't like them limiting what you can bring into targets, what we can put in fleets, this and that. You don't like the limits that they place on you in other aspects of the game, but you want to put a limit on players in aspects of the game in this way. If I want to drive the target, I will drive the fucking target. I can drive. Everyone's seen it. I can drive when I want to. But if I don't want to, and I have the option that's been given to me by the company to auto, or I've come up with a build in such a way that I can auto the target, like the Hydra and the 103, then fuck, why? Who gives a fuck what I do? Why would you force me into doing something I don't want to do, or I don't have the time to do, or it messes up the rest of my gameplay?
And ultimately, that's, you know, that's not anybody here's choice. None of us have the option to, you know, none of us make that decision. But I see what you're
No.
saying. That, you know, you're irritated with people saying, "Oh, well, you should have to do it this way." And
Yes.
for me, and I
I
don't know
want the
about other
options
people,
there for players.
but for me, auto is the best option because none of that shit that they put out is fun. None of it's engaging and it's too much. The only fun aspect is for me, is hitting other players and playing with an interactive target because player bases are an interactive, constantly evolving target. There's no way the game can keep up with the player base. So for me, that is the engaging aspect of the game. All this other shit I do so I can do that first thing that I was just talking about. There's no enjoyment for me. I mean, sometimes it's fun to figure out, oh, look, I got a cool build. This thing does it on auto. It does it, or this does it for low damage. Look how low my damage is. But after 10 times, I'm bored of that. I mean, you know, there's bases out there I could go and smash repetitively over and over and over and over again. There's even, you know, good bases that I could go do that to, but I stop because it's sort of like, well, there's no enjoyment in just hitting someone that you know you can beat over and over and over again. And oh, well, look, it only takes me 2 points.
My thing isn't even about the auto or the skill or anything. My thing is that I don't want more fucking options taken away from me. I'm tired of fucking having my options taken away from me in this fucking game. I can't build shit the way I want to. I can't put shit in fleets that I want. I can't do any of that crap. Why in the world? I mean, and that's coming from Kickside. Why in the world would I want to even hear a player go, I want Kickside to force people to have to drive this or have to do. Why would you limit my gameplay like that? Who gives a crap how I play? My game is my game. I play my game the way I want to play.
Yeah, if you've got the
Right?
option to do either, you should, you know, if someone wants to drive the target, that's fine, but make the auto hulls reasonable. Make them
I
do
just
their
don't want
job.
the option. I don't want people going, hey, you shouldn't be able to do this. Well, you know what? If I actually listened to that the entire time, I wouldn't have done half the shit that I've done in this game, period. So, you know, I shouldn't fucking drive the 121 with just 2 hulls. Pfft, okay. I mean, that's asinine. Would you be happy if someone came in and said that? Hey, I just refit my shit. I have like 12 people refit that crap and they're doing the 121s on auto with 2 hulls, getting 40 minutes of damage. And then someone comes in and goes, "Oh, you shouldn't be able to do that. You should be forced to drive that and have a full fleet. So you take an hour and 45 minutes of damage instead of 45 minutes of damage." Why the fuck would you want to say that to somebody?
No, I am just talking about your priorities. Your
My priorities are the option.
Again, okay.
It's not the autoing. It's not.
Okay,
It's not the
I get.
options,
Okay.
it's the options. I do not. I will take absolute. I will absolutely get pissed anytime someone goes to anybody in the game, I don't like the way you're playing your game. I want you to be forced to do this because you know what? Kix has already done that shit to us for the last, 2 fucking years. I don't need the player base to start doing that to each other. That's just crap. Crickets.
I think there's a happy mid ground though, George, in the fact that I agree with what you say, but I agree with what Hef says as well. We forget back in the day that autoing was something that the players invented, and what Kickside has done is monetize autoing. So I would probably agree with Hef in the fact that they shouldn't be spending time and resource developing specific auto targets or holes. But at the same point in time, I agree with you and say that they shouldn't have restricted us so we couldn't be ingenious in ourselves and design a hull that autos for our own purposes.
Well, look, the way that they did the last target, let's be honest, that's a perfect target for tuning for against an auto hull, because the auto hull actually gets close enough where it takes damage and the missile hull doesn't. I mean, that's the simplest form of tuning those two different hulls on the same target. It's just the tuning's off because the auto hull does a horrible job at its job. You can tune very specifically. I can guarantee you they can tune within freaking like a minute and a half of damage of what they want on the auto hull when driving on auto because of the ranges that they can employ. And it's not even an issue for the skill hull, because if you're kiting, you're not even close to the range of getting hit by what the auto hull would get hit on. So they're not really even having to design a specific target. They just have to tune the target. That's it. So they're not really even spending that, it's not costing them anything. It's not going to cost us anything. I mean, I don't give a crap. There's some players that will not even touch PvP. I'm not telling them, hey, you got to go and do PvP. You can't. I mean, no, man. Just let players play the damn game. Kickside wants to come out with something. I expect it to work. That's all I'm saying. If they give me the option, it better damn well work, and I better have that option. And I don't want to hear anybody bitching that I want to use that option. It's my game. I get to play it. So, yeah. I mean, did I piss everybody off? I'm sorry. Like, I take exception to that because I really don't want someone dictating more limits in a game that's already been limited to the frickin' balls wall. I don't know, whatever.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that some of the limits should probably be taken off that were previously there.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, because then they're going to get into an area with, like, the Cadies. They couldn't let the Cadies into the S targets because you could, fuck that shit up. And they couldn't tune around it because then it would fuck up the mana cores even worse than they already are. So what do? They just block it out of the target. I mean, we're not going to see
that, and they can make it so that it dies every 10th time in an 80 whatever.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
There you go. Now it's
I forgot about that. Yep. The Kraken effect. The Kraken effect. Who coined that? That was Hefe that coined that shit, didn't he? The Kraken effect? That shit was in full force last raid.
Next slide. Wait, what?
Sorry, Candy. It's just certain things that, yeah. All right, so I pissed everybody off. I'm sorry. I take complete...
I don't think you pissed everybody off. It's just a bit that everybody should, like, the way Battle Pirates was, they give you a hull, they give you a weapon and a special, and then you build what you want to build. And only your imagination and building prowess is the limit. That's the way it should be. And
Yeah,
how and what you play and what you use that hull or that weapon for, that should be up to you. You shouldn't be put in a sandbox where you have to do this or you can't play the game, or this is no good, or that's no good. You should be able to do what you can, creatively achieve in the game. I'm all for that.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't clear. I don't know.
No, the problem was one of the reasons for this show, especially the Friday open mic, is to have an open conversation about issues. Tonight, you've been talking over everybody that disagrees with you and just bullying them. I mean, that's what's been going on tonight. It's not your normal thing, but that's what you've been doing tonight. Like, I was trying to add to the conversation, and you just talked over me and just got louder than me. That I didn't like.
Well, I was actually trying to respond to you, and you wouldn't let me finish. But
rewatch the show.
Well,
okay.
All right.
No. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying that's the way I envisioned what just happened. But yeah, rewatch it and you'll see, what was going on. But let's move on. I mean, as far as what the main the main thing that we're trying to get done in the show is low-hanging fruit. Things that the new management of Battle Pirates, the game, could do to make the players happy without throwing the game out of whack. Like last week, or earlier or Wednesday when you were on the show, we talked about simple things like sorting, how we can put together our ships, sorting through 280 plus specials that we have. And then the slide we have up now is like, the display that players get on the defense platform. Is there anything you can think of that's, not reducing, getting rid of build times or, things that bug you as a player that are easy for them to fix, that don't have a huge amount of ramifications? It's more of an improvement to the game.
You know what my favorite one is, right? You know what? I think it's your favorite one too. Put the accurate numbers in there instead of having them doubled, right?
Well, yeah, that's what we. Well, that's one of them.
I mean,
on the
one,
left,
though, right?
on the slide that's up on the left-hand side, all those numbers are wrong, right?
Yeah. Well, I was actually looking at the one where it says stat, armor points, power consumed, and then the damage, because that damage number isn't really accurate, right? I mean, we've harped on that for over a year or two now, right?
Yeah. Is there anything else that you can think of off the top of your head of things that are easy for them to do that wouldn't swing the balance in the game? That doesn't swing, like some of the things I've talked about historically. Something I think we'll talk about on Wednesday's show is, and we've talked about several times, is how to adjust the tier 7 bonuses. I mean, I put that table up a zillion times. I don't have it available tonight. As far as how to create turrets in a deflection environment, I think that can be fixed, just how they release stuff moving forward.
So you mean not just the stat block then?
Well, okay. Right now, at this slide, we're just talking about the stack block, and this stat block, you see like the attack number of, the damage number of 1 million. 1 million means nothing to any player in the game, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't include anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. It's not divided by salvos. It's not,
It's a pretty number.
Yeah, it's a number, but it means nothing at this point in the game.
I like
It's a
with
pretty
multiple
number.
damage types and stuff, it's really useless. I like the way that Huggies has it broke down. I mean, I know they borrowed stuff from Huggies before. I think that would be a nice implement if anyone who's used Huggies, he breaks down like on, say you put a chain gun on there, he tries to show the damage values for each damage type, which is really, really nice. When you're trying to figure stuff out, like will I break deflection or would I be better off with increasing my reload? Most cases it's going to be reload, but I do like the way the damage types are broken down, especially with all these weapons that have 2, 3, 6 different damage types. That would be a cool implementation.
Yeah, and this also assumes that it gets divided by salvos, and also incorporates everything that adds to the damage. The specials added correctly, the transformer, your fire support, your tier 7 stuff, and your faction all gets thrown in there. So you can go, okay, I got this number. Let me see. Look at my shipyard. What's the best I can do on my, my impacted cruiser or whatever I'm, whatever ship that I want might come against me, and my Afridi or whatever. George is going to pronounce correct my pronunciation.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah. How you build your turrets correctly. Turret builds are huge in this game.
I mean, I would love to see accurate numbers, because, as you know, from either side, if you're building your base and you don't know what the hell you're actually doing for damage, you can't tell if you're going to be hurting the ships that are coming in. And then if you're trying to design a baser going to hit a base, you have no idea what the fuck's going to actually hit you. I mean, is that too like just on the pure basic part? Because this is what the slide is right now, is the stat block. Like, why can't this be right? It's fucking math, right?
It's their math.
It's their math, yeah. It's Kixeye math. I mean, shit, we know Kixeye math better than Kixeye. I mean, is that really too much to ask to get accurate numbers?
Yeah, I mean that's one part of it, and the other part of it is to get some of these calculations done for us. I mean, we shouldn't have to go to Wanker or Venom's calculators. This should be shown right there in the game. We shouldn't have to go plug in numbers and do all this other stuff. This should be shown in the game. That's what I'm trying to show here. As far as it would make it much simpler. I don't think it's like handing things over to players because there's still a matter of making decisions associated with those facts. But we need the facts first. We can't have bullshit stuff that we base our decisions on. That's part of my thing. And yeah, and John brought up, or Six Pack brought up, what's going on with the Tier 7 stuff in the Tier 7 environment. What's going on there as far as the fact that the phlogiston tube seems to work sometimes, not others. But if you look at the ballistic and the penetrative stuff, you need to have 8 of them, and you need to be covered by 5 fire supports.
And that works sometimes too. There are some bases where the damage dealt is off from what it should be still.
That's true. I mean, yeah, that's not what it's supposed to be showing. But the idea that for well, I'll say turret now, but for it to be relevant, it needs to have all those things going for it. And I'm not sure if you're there when I put the table together where it's sort of like shorter range stuff does this. It seems like there's a better mix possible than just, max up one, max out this one, and then you're killing everybody. And that's what's been going on more recently, right?
Man, honestly, I don't know what the hell's been going on recently. And the way they were talking today, I'm afraid to friggin' even build Tier 7 stuff now. I mean, instead of looking at stuff to I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Base lives matter, according to Cannon Fodder.
Yeah, the way they were talking today is that they want to take a look at this and they don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction, this and that. But then they were saying 3 months, and yeah, okay, PvP might take 3 months to get a good plan in and all this other stuff. But in the interim, does that mean without letting us know anything? Does that mean we're going to waste the next 3 months in building hulls that are going to get nerfed or adjusted or whatever the hell you want to call it?
Well, I mean, if you take a good look at it, the last 7 months has been an effort in futility, right? With this whole Tier 7 thing.
There's been some massive swings back and forth every freaking other week.
Yeah, not even swing back and forth. It's still been for everybody that owns all of one Tier 7 damage type. If you have all the ballistic, you have all the penetrative, you're pretty much owning most fleets that are going to come hit you, right? But if you're minus one of them, you're screwed. Am I wrong on that? Okay.
Well, you're not screwed, but it definitely will put a damper. Because right now we've got fleet builds that can withstand all of the turrets.
Mm.
I don't know. I do. Not every ship is like that, but we do have that as an option.
Yeah. Okay.
So honestly, I mean, a lot of people are relegated to just their base guard right now.
Yeah, there's more flexibility associated with the base guard is associated with like multiple damage types and that kind of thing.
But the game's not where it was to the point, that if you don't, where you can't hit anything. So I mean, it's definitely better in that regard.
But do you think it's a good situation? I mean, you saw the table I put together at one point that basically like basically the long range turrets do sort of minimal damage, and then the shorter range turrets. I mean, it's what we've been used to, and it works in the game unless you can create a new paradigm. And I'm not sure that we're creating a new paradigm here.
I don't know how easy it'd be to fix, but one thing that I'd like to see fixed is the ability to join a battle and be in control of your fleets, especially when you're hitting a base where somebody's online.
You mean like a dual countdown?
Something like that, or extend the countdown. But it seems to me. Well, I've seen it
It's in
when I've
the
been on
defender's favor if they started on you, because then there's a lot of things that you can't do, like get set up or it is annoying.
Can't hold your drones.
What are drones? I don't use those.
Hey, has anybody tried the remote radar on their drone ship?
Why? So it loses health faster.
Yeah, I've seen it in FVF. I've seen some people using them. Too bad I FVF with onslaughts. So, there's that. But, yeah, they come out really fast.
You know what I'd like to see changed, and this would be a simple change. This is low hanging fruit, truly. They need to take it to where when you're coming out of a stupid target, it doesn't auto select your fucking mega hole.
Or switch chat, or any of the other things. Also, has anyone noticed walls aren't dropping even though they're dropping? Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Like when you're hitting a base, the walls still visually are there, even if
I
they're
saw
gone.
that this evening.
Yeah, that's been happening for a few days. How about we fix that real quick? Even though it did need fixing before, but now it does.
Isn't that only if you have the hardware acceleration on?
I don't have that shit on, unless it default put it on me.
Ooh, see, everyone's been saying that was a hardware acceleration bug.
I don't use anything that they put out that's hardly.
I put hardware acceleration on, took it off, and I'm still seeing it.
Interesting.
Pop-ups. Get rid of some pop-ups. I'm even getting pop-up lag about a minute and a half after something's finished.
Alrighty then. Let's see what other slides that they had in here. I don't know what he had today.
Dude, that's a horrible end of slides. Keep going.
Yeah.
Is there the one? Is there the one with the chick from?
He's been
from
failing on the end of the slides. From Wednesday's show?
Yeah, the one from the bug.
That girl?
Oh, it's not the same one I was thinking of. I guess it was the week before. Oh well.
We can scroll through. They're all here.
I think you mean number 30, don't you, George?
Oh.
Yeah, that seems to be the favorite. Was the number 30.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I remember her. That's right. She's the one who I actually appreciated her thigh gap. That's right. Yep, that's the one. I like her. Just right.
But George, you don't even know what she looks like.
Yes, you do.
That's exactly what she's going to look like.
Factory
mean-
hair.
That's all he plans to see.
Okay, fair enough then.
No, I mean,
Sorry, I hope I'm not giving anyone like seizures or something. Doing so fast.
so I actually do have a question. How many people have actually put in the Phlogiston, the new ones, into their base?
I have them in there.
Okay, so how many people are actually seeing the shockwave do damage?
I haven't yet. I've been
You
hit,
haven't yet?
but I ain't seen it do damage.
I think I did on one hit with me. It was taking damage. It had to be from that because nothing else substantial was
What is
hitting
doing
it.
it? Do you
But
have
the time
two of them?
before? No, I don't, and I was gonna move the second one next to the first one today, and I got hit again before I got on, so I gotta wait again before I can move it over.
Interesting.
But I got hit by the exact same. I know it's the exact same fleet because it's the same alliance. I know it is because I could see their loadout, on the actual ship. And unless they were using different armors, maybe, but I doubt it. Anyway, the guy that hit me before that, he sat underneath that thing forever and was not taking hardly anything. So I don't know. When I first saw it, I was like, this thing's crap. And then I saw it the second time, and I was like, it was taking some chunks out, But with two together, it should work better. As long as they can't get sniped out, which they can't work. I know.
I hate multitasking. Good grief. Yeah, I'm
Anyone
actually
else?
curious because I've seen some interesting reports on setups that work and setups that don't, and yeah, I think placement might actually be very, very, very key with these things right now until someone looks at them and hopefully fixes them.
Yeah, it definitely was not behaving like I thought it should behave. That's for sure. And of course, I don't know exactly what armors either player was running on their ships, but you can kind of guess by, how they took damage the rest of the way into the base.
Well, there shouldn't be
Right.
there should not be an armor that they can use.
Well, but there's ways that you can mitigate the damage so that it may not be quite as noticeable. It won't be as big a chunks coming out of you. But then it makes them susceptible to everything else, which is kind of what I was getting at.
But I thought shockwave damage couldn't be mitigated. The way to mitigate shockwave damage was to increase evade so you took less hits so that they couldn't get the shockwave built up on you. And then we had the unreactive stat on
Deflection still works on it.
Deflection works on shockwaves?
I think so.
Yeah, man, I don't.
I'm gonna have to actually double check
know.
because now that I'm thinking about that,
Yeah, it should.
because I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're right, but if that's the case, then those ships should go down.
Defense. Remember, radioactive defense on the whole did not negate shockwaves. The way we negated shockwaves was through the resist or the unreactive stat, which
No,
they're no longer putting on the
plate. Shockwave plate did work though. It just worked for every radioactive damage instead of just shockwaves. That was
Right,
the problem with that plate.
Yeah, but that was the only one that did the shockwave damage. Remember?
But shockwave plate was a deflection special, was it not?
Yeah, it was deflection. It was deflection based, yes.
And it mitigated shockwave damage, correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and
so-
also radioactive
deflection.
damage.
Right, but that was a that was an ancillary oops. But it actually
I
did
think the
did
question would
shockwave
be,
damage.
is it working now?
Oh well, that's another
Because if it's
story.
if it's not supposed to, it's definitely not working. If it is supposed to, then it's working, but I still don't think the numbers are right. There's something's off with it, for sure.
Right. But just for clarification, the deflections should work against shockwave damage. Because historically they have, so I would hope that carries still. Even though it's a secondary damage.
Yeah, I mean, by looking at just the hits that that I was taking or whatever, I would have to say the deflection is working. It may be working a little bit too good.
Let's get into stuff that's more useful for players. At this point, John, one of the Johns asked. I'm assuming Conqueror Hall. What ship do you build right now, as far as a Conqueror Hall?
Well, that's the thing that was like I'm kind of leery of building anything at this point, right? Because we don't know what the hell they're gonna do with this shit.
At the moment, missile cruisers and impact cruisers are doing the best because those bounce off the two main damage types, but you still don't have a lot of wiggle room for armor, just weapons that will affect the other armor that you could or couldn't have.
Okay. All right.
Trying to be
And so,
vague.
so you're trying to say like the once the missile MC3 comes out, MC3 plate comes out, it might change things dramatically. Since basically from what we've seen so far, since it's in our shipyard, it's double the MC1 for using one spot.
Well, yeah, that's definitely going to change the balance. It's going to swing it all back to the attacker.
It's going to change the attacker too, though. The Ifrit or Efrit or whatever, that's potentially going to have some life at that point in time. Right now, it gets killed by everything, correct?
I freaked. I had to. I couldn't stop myself. I tried.
Well, yes. So, is that true though? As far as
I look, things are so jacked up, and I'm still trying to build stuff that I wanted to use like 2 weeks ago, and I don't even know if they're still going to be viable right now when they finally get done. And I just feel again behind in PvP, like way behind in PvP, which really annoys the shit out of me.
I mean, not to bring up a sore subject, but would a lot of these problems, as far as people not knowing what to do in the future, be solved by the reemergence of the whip? Knowing what's going to come out when, because obviously they're going to put out the MC3 plate, whether it comes out in Bounty or where it comes out. I mean, is that one of those things that you think that they should revisit, as far as the fact that they've eliminated it from the game? Letting players know what's coming soon so they can decide on the strategy of how they're going to put their builds together in their base and their ships and PvE, PvP across the board.
Didn't they mention that in the? I mean, it was a lot. I cut out early, but I do remember him saying, we're going to be more forthcoming. Again, could be a platitude, but we're going to be more forthcoming, letting you guys know what's happening. And then if it's met with, overwhelming negative feedback, we may rethink it. But
Yes, they did say that.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, what you're saying is they're saying the same thing. Again, at this point, it's only words, but that one guy, the guy, the high class guy, because he had a tie on.
The cute one.
Was he the cute one? I don't know.
Just kidding.
I don't know which
I
one.
was just throwing that
Wrong.
ball in your court. Very good.
But yeah, so they said that was something, and they've been doing a little better with that as far as communication. I think that's one of the things that we griped about pretty steadily. So they've been trying. I've been seeing.
Well, now no one's talked about this yet. So while we're on PvP and talking about the show that they did earlier too, how does everybody feel about the fact they're going to take out the bonus and bounty for hitting players' bases?
I think that was kind of a given, right?
Yeah, that's to be
I
expected.
mean,
Now, are they going to change the dynamic of the secure? Because if they don't do that, bounty is it's all the way lopsided.
yep.
Then it becomes the chore fleet. You basically have a T7 chore fleet. Which I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll do bounty because that's where you get stuff, but I'll hate them for every minute that I do it.
I see. Yeah, you have a little voodoo doll? That's sort of what I'm imagining. You're sticking pins in them every time you have to hit like a little target, right? No?
Did they say they were going to do anything about the guard fleets in your opponent bases?
They didn't get into that kind of detail from what I can tell. I mean,
They just said, no, you can't have 1,000,000 points again.
Dumbass.
Loretta says the bonus where players swap 600 points for a dead base by just killing a dock. Why would they stop that exploit? They put that exploit in there. I mean, why don't they test stuff?
It wasn't an exploit. That was purposefully done in the game. What the hell?
It's a
Just because we thought of what we could do with that is not our fault. Again, you gave me the fucking tools. Surprise.
yeah. It's not an exploit. I don't see that as an exploit. I see that as an undocumented feature. And like I say before, that's not our fault for figuring out the game. If they didn't test it, that's not the player's fault for calling that an exploit. That's their fault.
No, it was a documented feature. It was a documented feature. They said you go hit a player's base, even if they don't have any bounty. You're going
it was intentionally. Yeah, it was intentionally done.
They just fucked up on the implementation or forethought of implementation of said mechanic.
It's like, look, this is the way that I pictured it, right? They gave little George Washington a fucking axe, and they said, go chop some firewood, and they came out, a couple hours later, and yeah, the firewood was chopped, but so was like 3 fucking trees down, too. I mean, you gave him the tool, he cut a fucking tree down. Whoa, oops.
See, I see it more like they gave everyone a Harley shovel and told them to dig a hole, and they didn't know what it was.
We're getting all sorts of euphemisms from different countries. This is fascinating. Go ahead. No, but
here's where the problem's going to come in, right? Okay, we had so many players last bounty get so many points because points are easy to get. Now they're going to take that easy advantage away, but every bounty has been scaled up towards what the community had done the bounty before.
Yeah, and the players.
I'm gonna be. Yeah, and I'm gonna be curious to see if they put the base guards in the map targets, because that was a really shitty fucking thing to do last bounty.
Yeah, that blocked out a lot of the lower players.
It blocked out a lot of players because it meant that you took like 3 times as long to kill them.
Yeah, and it also meant that you couldn't auto the targets too.
Yeah. I mean, there was also issues.
Grimace got it.
I don't think you should be able to auto bounty targets. I think they should force everybody.
Padre's going all controversial now. I'm not even sure he's wearing pants at this point, but we'll get back
Was
to you.
he ever?
Whatever. I'm not
Man,
It's Friday. He's wearing a kilt.
I didn't think anyone wore pants on this show. No,
I
I
do.
don't.
I wear a pair of shorts on my head.
Look, not all of us are as beautiful as the other Brian from some other show. Never mind.
Good try.
I think we've run out of things to talk about.
I haven't run out of pizza though. I'm still eating it.
We ain't quite hit the 2-hour mark yet.
Where's Oh, you know what? Hold on. Grimace, where the hell are you on this thing?
What, huh?
Hang on. Hang on. Here, I just sent you something on Facebook. Can you share that on the screen?
I'm not
Is that
sure.
video with the chicken?
He took me off a share, so I'm not on share anymore.
I can put you back. I can put you back on share.
I thought you were gone for a fucking beer. I would have sent it to you. Jeez. Hold on, let me send it to your ass.
Somebody
Where
turn
are
off
ya?
your wind chimes.
Sorry about that.
No, turn off the wind chimes.
I'm
Tell the wind
surprised I
to
even
stop.
made it through. Can't hear all the other noise I got going on, but you can hear the freaking chimes.
Oh my goodness. Mike is a hard person to rev up and get angry and start using cuss words.
I'm not angry.
Those wind chimes, fucking. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah.
He's really
Yeah,
in
you
that
done
shit
it.
See if you can hear the fucking vibration.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now you're done it. You got Magic Mike upset.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, he's the one with the wind
hammock.
chimes.
I didn't get upset.
I thought you were in your hammock.
My banana hammock. That just means somebody's in my backyard that shouldn't be there.
Oh, John.
Oh my God, I don't even know what that means.
It's
John and
literal.
Guard your back door, sir.
It's literal.
Yeah.
Literal.
Oh my goodness.
He's still on the show.
We're not even sure who's in Mike's backyard.
Instead of going,
It literally says there's motion in your backyard.
Okay. All right.
It's my ring device.
there's an intruder.
What
Yes.
kind of underwear give you these alerts?
I have my. It's a Smith & Wesson
goodness.
9mm.
Oops. I had to close those. See.
I-
I'm sharing
I
something.
don't even know if I want to go there. Anyway, yeah. So John in chat wanted me to rant a little bit, right? So here's the rant. Some motherfucker. So I did not share this after my first run because I have zero faith that those targets are going to stay the way they are, right? So there's a particular build that I made to auto. Here we go, to auto those fucking new 121 targets with 2 ships, right? And this is one of them. I'm fairly confident this is going to work no matter what they do to the target. It's just going to be tweaking the other hull or hulls in the fleet. But apparently some fucking cunt decided to leak this shit out. So fuck, everyone can see it now. There you go. That's the build that you saw on that. Well, this is actually in refit for the last 2 Gale 3s there, but this was the build in that video, except it was short 2 Gale 3s. So there y'all go. Whatever cunt fucking leaked that shit, fuck you, asshole.
I don't think it was me, but
No, it wasn't you. No, it wasn't you. I know the Nexus. I just don't know who exactly yet.
You need to go, Padre? Was it you?
I didn't do it.
Oh, it was Padre?
Okay.
Motherfucker.
No, somebody said they needed to go, and it sounded like Padre. I wasn't sure who it was, but he might have been talking. Yeah, the 3M. So you're in that video, you're using this as a tank, right? This isn't like
this is on, man, it's on auto. I don't give a fuck. Now, the thing is this build is, it's either the exact same or very, very similar to what Earth was running, because he was using the same theory for his tank. And this will work beautifully as a tank in the same way that he used it in his video. So, you know, rather than, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to go and take fucking credit for this shit now. Yeah, surprise, motherfuckers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't
Hey,
matter.
where'd you get
But,
my
I mean,
build?
if anyone knows the reference to that, you're pissing your pants laughing right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I saw it in a dream.
I'm still trying to figure out how many coins it's going to take for me to auto a Drake base on my phone. A Drake base. Yeah. I'm not certain. How many coins is it going to take? But yeah, I'm going to take this off present so everybody's seen it so I can do some other stuff.
Yay. And I'm still testing a few things this weekend. And I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't think that they ever intended us to do that target with 2 fucking hulls. So I'm betting that's not going to keep on going. I mean, I'm going to keep on testing, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to show the builds, because it is using something very specific in the target. I have a feeling what I'm trying to do right now is I'm still refitting some of the other ones, because I just refit that first one. I'm trying to refit a second one so that I can actually test, like, quote unquote legit builds this weekend and have a video of that. But yeah, I figured I'd share this because there was a lot of people asking, and I got a couple of messages this afternoon, this evening, and I was like, oh, okay, so fuck it, there it is.
Quick thing, if anybody from Kixeye happens to be listening, in the Proto Cannoneer, whatever the hell, Proto Centurion, in that target in the SSRB, could you please remove the snowbank that's unkillable so that when I auto that,
dude, is it the Protos are having problems too?
The Centurions are. Is anything else?
I have a video from when the first day they came out. I had Buccaneers autoing, of course, and they went up into that corner and they were shooting that one fucking iceberg.
Yeah, they can't
nonstop.
Protos are having the same problem. They don't have enough splash to get a building to get around it.
Okay. Because I named it. I made the video. Yeah, I made the video and I named it, you know, friggin' iceberg shenanigans or some shit like that. I did not know. I thought the Protos were actually able to kill it. Fuck. That sucks.
They need a few cheese balls to land near so to melt it. That's
Fuck
what they
them
need.
cheese balls.
I think you missed, George. You probably liked the first like half hour of the show that you missed. I was.
You know what? I was
on fire. I was on fire with stuff.
I can guarantee you, I'm gonna like it more than what I had to deal with, because I had a freaking engine blow the hell up on me, and friggin' I opened up the radiator and then no shit, 60 feet in the air that shit went. I was not happy. I got burns all. Yeah, no, I'm not a happy camper tonight. No, I'm fucking pissed off right now. Which may have spilled over into the show, but you know, again, I'm sorry. I mean, it's been a bad night.
Yeah, and Laredo's going hashtag more cheese balls.
Yeah, they could stuff them damn cheese balls.
But was it fun though?
No, it wasn't fun. I mean, it's. I mean,
and now out of left field,
it's more like, but did you die?
Or did you take like 3 hours of unnecessary damage?
Yeah,
that's more like it.
Yeah, from the splash, not even from a direct hit.
Is the splash on those things still fucked up? Where like it'll drop like way the hell away from you and still fucking give you like 3 hours of damage?
I sent him a video that the splash was like almost an inch away, on the screen, of an inch away from the doggone ship, and I got 3 hours of damage. Never heard from them, bastards.
Yeah, I've submitted 2 tickets and they both just disappear.
Don't get too excited about your tickets, guys, because we had a response recently that was pretty amazing about a bubble pad being off, and the expert or whoever it was suggested that the player in question add armor to the front in order to increase the bubble
Jesus
pad.
Christ.
Did he get an answer after?
I don't know if he's got an answer back after his long and somewhat tactful response to that.
I thought that response was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had enough stuff to talk about associated with that, but Padre, you should send me that stuff like before the show because we did have a ticket of the week.
Ticket of the week. Yeah, I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, and that sounds like it'd be something that I could.
Oh, that's ticket of the month.
Yeah, but still, you should have seen some of the ticket of the weeks. Yeah,
It's the same guy that wants to teach George statistics. It's a hobby of his.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I made a. I responded to a post very nicely on TFC, and some guy was asking, should I put the full armor on something? The full armor, the new armor on his dragons to hit the TFC. I'm not sorry, not the TFC, the FM.
Oh,
The FM. Because it's like it shows 98 before, it shows 98 afterwards, and I tried to explain everything, and then as far as like if you go from 99 to 99.5, you're actually taking half as much damage from that damage type. And then he told me I was wrong because he had what was his ID? He had like a.
Oh, he did not do that shit to you.
Are
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. He went,
Oh my lord.
I have like 1,000,000-something ID.
Big
and
fucking
so
deal.
I know better. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, get your facts right first. And don't talk about the IDs because,
Your ID's not going to help if your IQ is 76. Fucking.
yeah. I mean, that's what I was trying to say. Like, get your facts straight. Your ID doesn't matter. And my ID is, less than 2,500. So, I mean, using that to bully me around, it's not going to work. I found it like highly amusing,
actually.
Yeah, and at the end of it, they deleted the whole thing. The whole post was gone. I'm not even sure what I did, but that was
It probably wasn't you.
Probably wasn't me. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably the other guy. He said something inappropriate after you had a lower ID than him.
Who knows what goes on there nowadays? But yeah, it was amusing that somebody tried to use I have an 11 million ID, so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, John, ID is not important. It's just somebody with an 11 million ID trying to pull shit on somebody that has like a 2,000 ID. It's just amusing. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's all I'm saying. It's not important. It just shows how long you've been playing the game. And some people have been playing for the game for a long time and have no idea what's going on.
Hello,
Roy Wagari. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did that slip?
Drake bases? Drake bases?
My thought bubbles are leaking tonight. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I got one for you, George. In the raid, I got my Flog 2 and I built it. I put radioactive isotopes. I put hydroxide panels and I put radium reserves, and I added the ATR transformer for the extra bit of range, right?
Okay.
And it all worked. It puts it together and, nothing untoward. Then I want to get out on the map and I get this little pop-up that I've got illegal land in my base. Turns out that you can't put all that together.
Why not?
So, I don't know. When it comes up, this little pop-up comes up and says, I've got illegal land. Then you click OK, and it puts you straight to the base planner. In the base planner, that turret that I just fitted or equipped comes up in red.
Just got to refresh.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but nah. And I couldn't get on the map. I couldn't launch a fleet until I got hit by one of your guys, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
We don't hit people.
My guys don't hit bases.
No,
No, he
we're
just-
pacifists.
Well, he came for a cup of coffee. I invited him in, and he fixed it for me.
I like that one. That was good.
And another thing, if you put I put my guard fleet in after it repaired, on my mobile app, and it put it bunched up on the on the outside of my channel. That's where it ended up, and that's when another one of your guys come and says hello, and he had a cup of coffee also. Yeah, so there's 2 points with the app. If you put your guard fleet in, and that's the second time it happened. It bunches it all up, like they're all in one spot, and they're right at front of the entry of your channel to the base. They're not in the usual spots. And then when you get hit and it repairs and you put the guard fleet back in on the computer, it goes back to the normal spot, not a problem. And that turret, yeah, it's very strange how that happened. And I've got all. I mean, I sent a ticket to Kicks, and then they fixed it since. So.
Yeah, odd things. I don't know. There's
But
some really odd
you would
things
think you'd
happening.
get a warning. You can't fit this with this. But no, it lets you spend all the base parts and everything. And then it says, no, you can't. You can't launch a fleet anymore until you fix it. And if you don't have any base parts, how can you fix it? So you have to coin it. No, I ain't going to coin it.
Yeah, that's messed up. That is really messed up.
They did fix it, though.
But still, I mean, I don't know. That's just...
I just thought you might like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know,
like the
the
coffee
messes
part
up.
the best.
Yeah, I know, that was great. I invited in. We had some coffee.
Hey, buy for coffee.
We had a
buy
chat, had some cookies, you know.
Yeah, I'm all.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
All right.
Wait,
guys.
Yeah, I'm done with this shindig. I want to have a. I want to go get something.
He always leaves right at the 2 hour mark.
Put some
Every
ice on the
single time.
fucking burn.
You burn yourself?
Oh yeah, fucking.
Didn't you have it on the latch? The first latch on the cap, dude.
No, it's one of the. It was one of the pressure tanks that are off to the side. It's not. It wasn't. Like, there's no cap on the radiator. It was one of the cap. Yeah. And the thing was, we had just started it up. We had just put a lot of it back together, and we were running it to just charge the battery. And at some point, I may have gotten distracted, and at some point during the time of my distraction, the belt apparently went soft and slipped and sat on the crank pulley and didn't move. Like, it just was just sitting there, and it just kept on getting hot and hot and hot. And when I finally got back to it, I mean, it was pegged, but it wasn't blowing steam out of anywhere. So I don't know if I had just gotten there when it got to that point. I shut it off, you know, and it started. It's at that point it started, you know, the pressure, you could hear it trying to escape out of the cap, and I decided to fucking pop it open because motor wasn't running, the water pump wasn't running. It had to gas out, and it was going to either gas out through the system or it was going to gas out through the fucking head gaskets. And if I got a choice, so I gassed it out, and like I said, shot up 60 feet in the fucking air. I'm like, visually that was probably the best one I've ever seen in my life. But
yeah, you're lucky you didn't get hurt worse.
Well, I may have done this a time or two before with other things. It's definitely. I mean, I've built lots of stuff, but
yeah, I know. But
so I sat there and I let it sit for a little bit and do the slow cool down, and I spun it over a couple of times to make sure that the rings didn't stick or fuse or anything like that. And after, I don't know, right before I came in to get on here, I had just started getting water back into the system, and I was turning the water pump by hand to cycle everything through. So I figure by now, hopefully it's cool enough where I can start touching some other parts to find out if there's damage. I'll go throw on the, leak down fucking tester and see if it's holding shit. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting night. Yeah. I might do it tomorrow. I'm still pissed off. The more I think about it, I'm still pissed off. So,
yes.
Yeah. And at the same time, because I was rushing to go and pick up one of the kids, I wasn't aware that someone had lifted a lawnmower for me to work on, and it was barely leaning on, I guess, the car. And so when I drove off, yeah, the damn thing rolled. So I came back and I'm like, why is the lawnmower upside down in my driveway? What the fuck? So yeah, it's been an interesting day.
Okay.
Very, very interesting day.
Alrighty. Should we wrap things up? It's been going on.
Yeah,
for
man,
2
we've been
hours.
waiting on you. I want to go and
It
eat.
hasn't been
Jesus
that long.
Christ, motherfucker.
Hey, I got things I need to deal with. You know.
Rolling a
but-
joint is not something you have to deal with. Do that later.
No. Old people that have cancer and heart attacks, it's more to that kind of thing. But as far as I think, you know, between now and Wednesday, and how can the group that is evaluating Battle Pirates as a whole, you know, we've shown a couple things, like what is low hanging fruit that they can fix quickly in your eyes, and we'll talk about it more on Wednesday. But like, what's the easy thing that really annoys you at this point? That's what I was trying to do with this show. I got, you know,
Accurate numbers. That's easy. Accurate numbers. That's like top of the list. Accurate numbers.
Yeah, accurate numbers is one of them. You know, I put that out there, and consolidating the numbers so the players can see what they are, and the ability to find things in the game. You know, things that don't throw off the game, but just, you know, if you have any suggestions, like on the Wednesday, you know, we'll be back on Wednesday, and I'm tempted to do a Tuesday show. Because sometimes TFC decides, okay, we're going to do a Wednesday show, even though we got the update on Tuesday. They're going to run up right next to right next to the show, because I think at this point in time, the community needs like a place to come together and talk and feel like there's other people going through your pain. And
you know what I want? I'll tell you what I would like. I just want like some fucking honesty from the people on shows. Just
what?
saying.
Like, you think I'm lying to you?
No. Well, I mean, I don't know about the bone part.
Whatever.
Wait, are you talking about smoking the bone or rolling a bone, or are we talking about something else?
I didn't say any of that. I didn't say any of that. I'm just saying, are you accusing me of being? I think I'm one of the most honest people on the show. You know.
I was actually referencing a certain video that came out that kind of, you know, told the community, oh, the raid's easy, 2 coins, and you know, you're familiar with that one. You noticed that one well before anybody, actually, I think.
There's a video?
Yeah, I noticed that in
There
minutes,
was.
but yeah.
Now every video I see on there, I want to ask.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Yeah, I mean,
live at Memorex.
But as far as, you know, like Wednesday's show or next Friday's show, as far as like, if you guys have any input, I mean, because you could post on the forums, and it appears that they're looking for input from the players as far as like what they think is wrong with the game. And I've seen a lot of feedback from the players, and a lot of the feedback from the players is complicated, you know, reduced build times, reduced repair times. And that has like a huge impact on the whole part of the game. You know, like I'm going for things that are like, what annoys you? That it's just sort of like the interface with the game or something like that, that they could fix easily. You know, doesn't take them, it doesn't take 3 months to figure out, oh, okay, that's a good thing to do with the game, but we may fuck up this. And so now we need to do something else. That's more what I'm thinking about. If anybody has anything, and, you know, something to think about, you know, in the future, as far, you know, maybe, you know, on Wednesday's show or Friday's show. So, yeah, it's a game, and we shouldn't be having to do this much work associated with a game that a lot of people pay for. But
This is a game?
Yeah, it's
No
a game.
way.
But yes, but what I'm saying is, this is a game that people are paying to play, but it feels like that we have to. It's not what Battle Pirates does for us. It's what we can do for Battle Pirates.
Give them money.
No,
Dude, I want to know what the hell you're smoking. That was pretty good. Shit.
Yes. So, alrighty, ladies.
I mean, so let's see. We have Hefe on the weed. We have friggin' Padre on the freaking smack. I mean, who else do? No. I thought you were doing the heroin.
I was just quoting Kennedy.
When I'm 80. Jesus, not there yet.
I was just quoting Kennedy.
Oh, the heroin's when you're at 80?
Yeah, when I'm at 80, then I'm gonna start trying the real good stuff.
Huh. I may have been mistaken then.
Not a whole lot to mess up at 80.
So who was doing the heroin? Was it Grimace? I hear him chuckling. Look, I hear him chuckling. He didn't want to say anything. should we take anything?
He's all about the crystal meth, so don't even bring
okay.
him into
Stuff. That's why I don't have any teeth.
Wow. Well, and that makes it's easier to make money that way too.
Yeah, I gotta make money. Then.
Yeah, no teeth makes it way easier. Alrighty.
Pimping ain't easy.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on Wednesday night, and I will post.
Ladies.
Who
Wait.
am I calling a lady either?
There's one thing that they were almost begging us to do is to fill out the
lady
survey.
Oh yeah, fill out the
We didn't
survey.
talk
Actually,
about
literally, yeah, totally fill out the survey. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. If you're one of those assholes, that says, "I would like to be able to hit ships that are moving," whatever. Don't watch the show next week.
I'd like to be able to hit ships that are moving on the map on auto.
Yeah. Okay.
You say auto 3 times, you said magic llama.
Yeah.
He'll get upset.
Goodness. I spent a lot of time putting together slides and whatnot just to get trolled by these assholes. But, show up on Wednesday. I'm
Why
sure
you gotta call
George will be
Padre an
back.
asshole now? I mean, shit, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's a nice
Wait,
person.
Are you guys talking about my wind chimes?
No, he's talking about how the fact that Wednesday's show is going to be an auto show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna mail it in. Yeah, I mail them on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will
Wait.
We're going to start an hour early, and we're going to just do a live stream of another.
Yeah. I mean, I did bring that up earlier. I mean, the fact that I, to be honest, I am quite annoyed by the fact that even when TFC has the option of putting their show on Tuesday because they have the update available to them, they push it to Wednesday, and then it creates a situation where there's like this show is not monetized, so I don't care how many people watch. It's about the fact that there's a couple of nights that players can get together, gripe about whatever, talk about whatever. It's a sense of community in the game that I like. And I like the fact TFC has their thing and that we have our thing. But if you push it all together in one night, it does not work. And it does not make me happy that they're both compressed into one night. So I'm tempted at some point to create like a random Tuesday show at
Dude,
times.
we all know you're lying. Look, we all know you're lying. You're in it just for the nudie pics that people send you. We know it.
Well, I mean, besides yours, I haven't got any others. So, I'm not in it for that. I mean,
that's a hint. There's a hint. I just sent the one Daniels.
Daniel
sent
I'm not into the hairy nipples. So, we'll just leave it at that. No, we're not changing our showtime. They need to change their showtime. So, yeah.
Do you mean you're expecting someone to be considerate of other? No. Why would you?
No. I mean, I'm just trying to explain why I have the issue, because I think it's for the community, because a lot of people that are showing up to this show and watch this show want to feel a sense of togetherness and community associated with things. And the fact that they're all pushed together into basically the same time doesn't make any sense. So we'll leave it at that. And I will post the link one last time, and we'll go to the after show, and we can talk about Drake cases. So we'll do that at your
Can
leisure.
you, hey, on the Drake bases, can you do them on your cell phone?
I don't know.
Never mind.
I should call an expert on that. Figure
Never
out if I can
tried.
do it
Never
that way.
tried.
There was a Drake song about a cell phone. Never mind, you fucking old people.
Hotline bling.
Yeah.